This episode is brought to you by High Point Market. Welcome to the Design Dash podcast, your guide to designing a life you love. Join us as we explore the keys to living the life you want without compromise. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Design Dash podcast. I am Melissa Grove, and I'm here with my co-host, Lori Umansky. We have one question, and I'm trying to figure out how do I want to word this question, but I guess it's really, maybe it's not a question. It's like it's a statement, like it's not you, it's me. We're talking about hiring issues and employment stuff. Like, what happens when you are having some difficulty with your new hire or with somebody that you manage? Who's at fault? Is it them? Like they're not getting it, or maybe you got to look inward and it's you.
Are you the problem?
Are you the problem? This came up in our community. We had a discussion earlier today. We have some community members who are hiring right now, which is really exciting. Like a lot of people are hiring either like their first or second hire. They're going from solopreneurs to now like a team of 2 or 3. But there's a lot of growing pains that come with that.
Always. Any new hire, it's a growing pain, especially if you're hiring for a position that you haven't had before in your firm.
Yes. Yep.
I feel like that's where the most friction happens because you may not even know what you're looking for, and yet you're hiring someone to take on this role and expecting them to be perfection at it when you don't even know what it is. So is it you or is it me? It's probably me a lot of the times. But I think that shows a lot of emotional intelligence to even be able to ask that question. Like,
Yeah.
I hired this person to whatever role. Let's say it's a junior designer role. So someone without a ton of experience. I've generally told them what the job is. They've accepted the role based on my description, and yet they are continually making mistakes or falling short or not doing something that I would think they would know how to do. What do
Yeah.
you say to that?
I mean, I think anytime that you're having a problem with an employee, whatever that problem is, you have to look inward. I think unfortunately that's like the responsibility of a leader too, is am I not setting expectations? Am I not repeating myself enough? Am I not giving these directions enough? And I really feel like, and I know some people aren't going to like hearing this, 9 times out of 10, it is you. There is there is something that you're not doing. And I say this as somebody who manages people. There is something that I'm not doing that's causing this problem.
I agree. I mean, it is a tough pill to swallow to think like, okay, I'm the one that is at fault here. And I don't want to assign blame. Like we're all human. But for the most part, it is something that you can either set the expectation up front. Like, what is that old adage? Like, inspect what you expect. So you got to set that expectation and then you have to follow up on it. You can't just like dump something on someone and assume they're going to do it to the same level you would.
Yeah.
Without some sort of coaching and guidance or follow up, like that has to happen. And we talked this morning in the community about repeating. Like if you say something once, someone may nod, your employee may nod and say, yes, I've got it. But do they really?
Yeah.
Maybe. Most times they're going to need to hear it more than one time.
Yeah, I mean,
And
what they say is like you say it once for
right,
yourself to hear it. It's that second or third time that it's for the other person.
right. And then in this industry, we learn so much by doing. And so you can't anticipate or you can't expect that someone is going to know everything yet. Like I've been doing this 25 years or however long. I don't know everything. Every project brings some new situation I've never encountered before.
Right.
So if we're learning by doing and we have an employee that's only a year in, they haven't done most of this. So you have to, it's hard, I know, because I struggle with it too, but you've got to take yourself back to that beginner's mindset.
Yeah.
What don't they know? Probably most of it.
Yeah. I think like there are just a couple of not like red flags, but just like a couple of triggers where just like, ooh, that is probably me, not them. At least the first time.
Yeah,
Now, if I'm making this mistake 3 or 4 times, okay, it's probably them and
right.
having a different kind of conversation. But if the first time, like, they're not following directions, and I know that the first instinct is to say, like, "Okay, well, I told them A, B, and C, and they just did A. What's wrong with them?" Okay, we really have to think, "Okay, well, how did I explain that to them?" Like, did I tell them why? And we all learn and accept information in different ways. Like, I know with you, Laura, you're just like, okay, just tell me what needs to be done. Well, I can figure it out. I'm
Like,
doing it.
bottom line me and I'll get it done. Yeah.
Right. But I manage some people who are just like, I need to know the why behind every single thing. I need to know, okay, I'm going to do this. Well, why? Because that person wants to possibly think about a different way to do it than
Which is
what you're telling
fine.
them, which is totally fine. So I think giving people information in the way that they need it is the number one thing that you can do to avoid these kinds of issues.
How do you figure out how your employee likes to or needs to take in information? Can you figure that out? Is it just over
Yeah,
time?
but I mean, it takes some time with some people. I mean, I like to try and ask those kinds of things in an interview. Just like, hey, you have a million different tasks in front of you. How are you going to prioritize? And you might have some people who are just like, oh, I write down a list, or which no one really does all the time.
I mean, I write a damn list, so I'm like, "Good, write that list, get it done."
But then they're just like, "Oh, yeah, I like to write down a list." I'm like, "Okay, what is that list? How often are you looking at it? Like, what's completion like?" Like that kind of thing. But then you might have some people who are just like, "Well, if I'm running into an obstacle, I'm going to ask you first." And you're like, "Okay, this person needs a lot of information." And so then you can
Right,
kind of figure that out from the interview. But man, it's hard. I mean, you kind of have to work with somebody for at least 3 months to figure out how they like to receive instruction, how they like to receive feedback. And I think as long as you have developed some kind of trust with that person, you can sit through those 3 months, um, but if you haven't, then that's a little
yeah.
later.
I mean, trust is a whole other situation because that just could take a long time too,
Yeah,
especially when you're trained like you said, especially when you're training someone because they are gonna make mistakes. Um, yeah, and it's how you respond to that, I think, as a leader, as a manager, that's gonna develop the trust on their side too, right? Because
yeah,
it's two-way street. Um,
absolutely, and what I see from designers and creatives is that trust is really hard because that means relinquishing control and delegating what to do, but you like the way that you do things.
right,
You know that the way that you do things is right, but the only way that you can build trust with somebody is to let them do it
right,
and let
and it
go.
is hard too because it's a reputation thing. It's a client satisfaction thing. So it's not like we're just not trusting for no reason. It's also that we're like, I want our client to be so happy, and that's a lot of responsibility.
Mhm.
And so yeah, turning that over to someone else. But then again, like we've talked about our management styles. Like mine is very hands off, and I'm like, if I'm hiring someone, it's probably because I have confidence they can do this better than me. And so I'm going to be like, here's the goal, have at it. But that doesn't work for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right? So, that's how I am. But
Yeah.
then if they fall down and mess up, I would just be like, "Okay, well, you fell down and messed up. Like, I wasn't there to tell you every step of the way how to do this, so of course you're gonna make a mistake," and I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. Is
Yeah.
it stressful? Hell yes, it's stressful, but I'm okay with fixing things and, like, learning our lesson and then moving on. I'm
Yeah.
actually okay with that.
I am too, but man, if somebody makes a mistake and it is so the opposite of how I would have done something, then that to me is like, man, I just know this isn't gonna work because because we just have
Oh,
2 different modes of thinking, and if it's too disparate, I
yeah.
just then we lose, like, that feeling of collaboration and trust. Like, if somebody makes a mistake, I'm just like, "Okay, I could see why you did that. Like, let's
Yes,
work with this
right.
and let's fix it." But if somebody makes a mistake and I'm just like, "I cannot imagine
Like,
thinking
how in the
to do
hell did that
that."
happen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kinda hard for me to reconcile.
Okay, okay. Man, I don't know. Because then I've gotta put myself there have been mistakes that have cost us a lot of money as a
Yeah,
firm,
yeah,
and they are definitely not things I would have done, but I also have to put myself in the person's shoes that made that mistake, and I'm like, they didn't know to even ask the question that could have avoided that mistake
right.
because of where they are in their career. Like,
Sure.
I've probably made that mistake early on and learned already. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's so hard. But then, I mean, there's just boneheaded stuff that you're like, seriously? No. Like, that's not gonna work for us.
I remember when I was working at the agency, I was relatively new, and the person who had started with me deleted everything from Dropbox. She didn't know how to,
Sorry.
like she didn't know how to, like, move files over, so she was just, like, deleting them as she was moving things,
Oh my
deleted
god.
half of our business history. And I remember my boss was upset, but she was like, "Well, but we could just let's just call Dropbox and see if they can restore it." And they did. They were able to.
Right.
But that like seeing
So, like,
my boss
problem solving.
yes, but seeing her not lose her shit over
Yes.
something where like we literally lost half of her shit
Yes.
and she didn't freak out over it. She was like, "Well, let's first see if Dropbox
Yeah.
can handle it."
How do
That
we fix
showed me, okay, well, you know what? Like when I get to that role and I'm managing other people, like I remember how that made me feel. I felt
yes.
okay in making that.
Supported. Like,
I
"Man,
felt
I made a mistake, but I'm not getting yelled at. I'm not getting berated for
yeah, it
how
wasn't
stupid
the end
can
of the
you be?"
world.
Like, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, because that doesn't help anyone. Just, how do I solve it immediately?
Yeah.
And then, how do we not do that again? Because
Right.
that was really stressful for everyone involved. Like, let's not do that.
Yeah, but I wonder if as a solopreneur, like, you're just I mean, everything is so lean, right? And everything just relies so much on you that you're just like, "Well, damn it, now I've gotta take care of, like, you know, collecting back and finding half of my stuff, like, I'm gonna be mad." And that's a natural reaction, but I think that when you have that reaction with your employees, it has an impact. And then it just that person's then gonna be afraid to make mistakes, and they're not gonna be as bold anymore, and then they're not going to I don't know, they're not gonna enjoy it.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree. But, like, as a solopreneur, I think that's an important point. You're used to working by yourself. And then you have someone that comes in and suddenly you have an employee and they are gonna make mistakes and you're like, "Man, I could have just done that faster and better than they could have. Like, why do I even have this employee?" And I think that's so limiting for you and your firm. So beware that I can just do it myself faster, like immediate reaction, because you probably could. But then
yeah,
there's no growth there. You're still just tied to your firm. You are gonna be shackled to your firm as the only person that can do anything, and
yeah,
that's a shitty place to be too. So, I think you just kinda gotta get over the thought process of, "I can just do this all myself,"
yeah.
right? Like, yes, they're gonna make mistakes, but it's okay, and your reaction to those mistakes is everything.
Everything. So let's say that you are working with an employee and they're making mistakes, like these little things here and there, like very much like what we were discussing this morning. How do you know as a business owner, like, okay, I can turn this around? And then what are the other red flags we were just like, this is not salvageable?
So, red flags for me, definitely are oh gosh, there's so many. Is that terrible?
No, there should be a lot.
Red flags for me are really just like the "it's not my job" thing.
Mm, yeah.
Like, if someone says to me like, "Oh, that's not part of my job," that drives me nuts. Especially as a small business, like,
Yeah.
it's all
It's
part of our
everybody's
job.
job.
Like, we should all be willing to do these things. So, like, it's not my job. Um, I think it's really hard to I would say sloppy behavior, but it's really hard to distinguish, like, what's sloppy and what's just, like, uninformed or they need more training.
Yeah.
But, like, repeated patterns of the same behavior that's already been, like, established, corrected, and it's still happening. We don't have time for that. Like, that that's not a thing. Um, I don't know. What else for you? I mean, I've got so many. I don't know.
Red flags for me, not admitting when you did something wrong. I think
That's true.
that's a
Yes.
really big one for me is the just denial
Defensiveness.
of,
Yeah.
"Oh, but it wasn't a big deal anyway," or yeah, like, getting defensive about it, that I can't handle because that to me is, like, a personality flaw, and that's something I can't
Mm.
train out of you.
Oh, I feel like it can be trained.
Mm,
I think
how?
accountability can be trained. Um, by modeling it, by showing it. You're like, as a leader, modeling it to your team, I feel like over time, it definitely can be learned. I think it takes a while though, because it is a vulnerable place to be. And some people, I'm not saying everybody can learn how to do it because some people just may have whatever in their background, they can't do it. But I've seen people come around. to be able to learn it.
Okay, I have yet to see that happen.
Just no.
No,
But I also
big one.
forget. I don't have a long memory and I don't hold grudges, and so I forget. Like, I don't know. Like you said, if you lose trust once, it's over.
Yeah,
For
I
me
do.
for me, it's not like that. Like, I can rebuild it. It's all based on action. Like, I need to see that you're making an effort.
No. Burn that bridge. I'm
Oh
done.
my
I
god.
am, I
I just
am.
don't even remember.
I
I'm
can
like,
I can still work with somebody, but, like, managing somebody, oh, that's a little bit hard. That's a little bit hard. And I think
I
everybody deserves a second chance, absolutely.
that's what I was gonna say. Redemption. It's everyone loves a good redemption story.
Totally. But that's it. Like,
One chance.
there's no second way,
We're
there's a
gonna have this
second way.
conversation. You get one shot.
You get 2. You get 2, baby.
Okay, fine. Fair.
You get
2. I will give you that.
2. And then
Okay, what
and these are, like, big mistakes. Like, everybody's gonna make small mistakes. I make small mistakes
yeah, of
too, but these
course.
are, like, the big egregious things, and it's not always, like, the big outcome. Like, I mean, we've seen mistakes that have cost us tens of thousands of dollars, and yet
Yep.
sometimes those mistakes mean nothing to me because I could understand why they made it. They
Yeah,
were
it just
accountable
happened.
for it, like, I get it. But
Yep.
it could be something really small, like they got snippy with a coworker, but man, like, if they're defensive about it and they're not
Yeah,
apologetic about it, that's like one time and I'm
yeah.
done. Like that trust is
If they
gone.
don't own it.
Mhm.
If it's not like, "You know what? I was snippy. I'm reacting emotionally. I am going to be aware of that, and I'm not gonna be a jerk anymore."
Yeah.
Okay.
Agree.
You get one of those extra 2 chances. What's another red flag?
Um, I mean, just there are also just really simple tactical things like if like processing. Like if I'm explaining something to you and I've explained it many times, you have a document with your job description on it. Like I have instructions. I'm so big on instructions because a lot of people on that I manage and I'm thinking about like our procurement agent or our accounting person, like we need a lot of the why. We need a lot of information
Yeah,
because the risk to not have it
it's
all will
procedural yeah,
cost us money.
yep.
So like, an unwillingness to follow procedure for me, like, from the get-go, immediate
Yeah.
jail. I can't no.
Yeah. What if someone comes in though because I feel like you've had this happen. Someone comes in and they're like, "I feel like I can improve this."
Totally. That's great, but you have to understand what's broken about it first.
Right,
I think
okay.
you have to understand it's like, you have to understand the rules before you can break them effectively. Um,
And that's with anything. I mean, on the
yeah,
design side too, because 'cause we've had past employees come in and they're like, have never done it this way. I don't wanna do it that way. My way is better." And just that's it. There's no room for learning the way we do it. Like, for me, that's a no-go also,
yeah,
because they haven't shown, like, "Hey, I understand how you do it and why,"
right.
at all. I agree, like, if they learn that, they exhibit they can do it that way, but then, like, "Hey, this is a better way to do it. Let's consider it." All day, I
Oh,
will.
yeah, and I've changed
Yeah.
processes over and over because somebody understands how we do it, why the
Yep.
way we do it sucks, and like, there's a better way to do it, and I'm
Right.
like, "Okay, great, like, that we can do that." But if they're
Yes.
coming in day 1, like, "Well, in my past job, we did it like this, and so I'm gonna do it like that." I'm just like, that's
No.
rigid, and rigidity is hard to
There
collaborate
you
with.
go. Yep. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, we've, parted ways with people in the past at our firm for that very reason, just, like, they didn't wanna do it the way that we do it, and it's not that like, we put these procedures in place for a reason over whatever, the last 10 years, 20 years. Please just give them a chance. Like, you wanted to be here in the first place, like, why? If you don't wanna even look at our processes.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
you
then
gotta part
that's
ways with
fine.
people
Hopefully,
because
they're
of that.
someplace where, like, they can use their process however they want to, and they're probably better off there.
God, love
Uh
that for them.
But for us, like, I mean and I'm willing to change any process, honestly, but you have to understand it first.
Yep. Alright, what else?
I think that maybe so those are some red flags I think with team members. I know we've talked a lot about attention to detail, which that man, that one's really hard. I know that designers have a different attention to detail than like I would on the process side. I don't know. I try to give that so much leeway simply because man, it's so tricky. And we offload so much of our critical thinking now to other things. So,
Yeah.
like I can see why there's a little bit of an issue there, but what are some red flags? I think what are some questions that you have to ask yourself as a leader is just
Yes,
like,
that's what I was gonna say, like, how do you know it's you?
I mean, for me, I like if somebody is not understand like if they're not understanding, or like maybe it just seems like they just keep doing the wrong thing over and over again. Like I think at least initially, there's something wrong with the way that I'm giving instructions.
Yeah.
I, that's one. Um Another one is if they're not asking questions or like if we have meetings and they're not speaking up, that's a huge red flag that I am not allowing them the space to ask questions and be vulnerable and ask the stupid questions. That's fine because there
Mhm.
are stupid questions. That's fine. You have to be okay about asking them, and then be okay with answering them too. So like whenever I feel like somebody on my team is a little bit withdrawn, I'm like, oof, I'm probably talking too much or like I'm being too rigid and I need to open up a bit.
I'm trying to think of red flags for me because I feel like I'm just really perfect. So, um, oh, yeah, I guess the clarity thing, like if someone is just unclear and we've gone through this again and again, then I'm like, okay, am I not being candid enough? And a lot of times that's what it is. I'm softening my feedback too much, or I'm softening that instruction too much. So I'm not offending them, or I'm not like, I don't want them to feel like I'm dumping too much work on them. And it's
Yeah.
usually because I'm feeling guilty about something or I don't want to upset someone else. I'm being a people pleaser. Um, I think that's a red flag when they aren't the clarity thing. Like they just aren't clear.
Yeah.
It's because I'm not being clear, probably.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what else.
I mean, I think another one too is, oh, this person's not meeting deadlines. And I think our first thing is, oh, well, they're just disorganized. They need to get their stuff together.
Yeah.
But I often think, okay, did I really assess their current workload? Did I give them like a
Yep.
list of priorities and tell them, hey, this actually needs to get done before this? Like I that one's really hard for me because I would in my previous life when I wasn't managing other people, I tried to never miss a deadline
Well,
until
you don't, that's not even a thing. You don't miss
until
deadline.
times that I did. And I was like, but the reason why I did is because I'm working a 60, 65 hour week. Like, and you weren't
Yeah.
telling me what my priorities were. I ended up working on this other thing that I'd been working on for the past 3 months. Like, yeah, some deadlines are going to get missed. And then that leads to a lot of frustration, obviously, for me as the employee. But then my manager was also pissed. And so we had to have a conversation about, hey,
Yeah.
what's going on here? And it was because they hadn't realized, oh wow, I didn't realize you were working on
Overloaded.
this
Yeah.
much. And so and of course, since I'd made that mistake in the past, because I feel like mistakes are the best teacher, now I am constantly thinking about that when my team can't, or it takes them a really long time
Yes.
to do something. I'm like, well, it's probably because they have a bunch of other stuff to do.
Yep. I mean, the same. That's a red flag too, is when someone or multiple people on the team are like, I am overwhelmed. And I used to hate that word. It was like a trigger for me. I'd be like, you're overwhelmed. Are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, but then I'm like, I really had to take a look at it. And we were just over promising what we could deliver in the amount of time we had. And so
Yeah.
we just got extremely clear on the workload and utilization rates and how much one person can actually produce.
Yeah.
Um, and it varies. I mean, it's so variable, but when someone says they're overwhelmed, I'm like, "Okay, that's on me." It's because my expectations are too high, I've overpromised to a client, I've just taken on too much and dumped it on them, and so I've gotta really look at that.
Yeah.
It used to drive me nuts, though, overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed.
What helped you get over that?
Um, Realizing that pushing out deadlines and timelines on projects isn't going to crush that project or make that client hate us. It was a client pleasing thing that I would do. I'm like, if I don't do this and someone else is gonna get that project, that's not the case. Like, clients are very if you tell them, if you're clear, "Hey, this is how long it's gonna take. These are our milestones. This is the deadline," you can extend it out and give your team more time so they aren't overwhelmed. So, yeah, I think that's what it was. It was just a realization that my clients aren't all going to leave me because I need 3 extra weeks to complete this
Okay.
project.
So you like confronted your abandonment issues and you realized that wasn't a way to do it.
Yes. Yes, that's what happened. And I'm still doing it on a daily basis. But I also put everything, I love an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
All of our projects went into a single view so I could look at them all concurrently and really see that, yes, the team has too much stuff going on at once. That is
Yeah.
impossible to complete. So I have like that actual visibility into the data, but then
But
also
see,
like dealing with my abandonment issue.
that is such a good example of why you should look inward first, because think of all the stuff that came out of that. We're just like, okay, well, now I need to get visibility into my workload. I need to actually
Yep.
find out what the real problem is. And now the problem wasn't necessarily the team. It was because we
No,
lacked visibility into what our current workload is. We couldn't really project out. Like it attaches so many other things. I think that's why I'm
yeah.
just such a big believer in like, just have the self-awareness to think for a second, okay. And it's not arrogant, although it may seem that way, but like, wait, what about me? But it's like, what am
Oh,
I what am I
right. No, I feel like it's more like responsible. You're like, what am I doing here? What can I control about myself in this situation?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, but sometimes it is about them. It could be.
very true.
Um,
I think sometimes
or
it
it's both
is.
of you and that dynamic just isn't working for whatever reason.
Bingo. And I think that that's one thing that is kind of hard for people to admit, or you feel like, especially as women too, we're just like, well, I can get over that. I can, like
Right.
we can develop this relationship and it'll be fine. I think as a business owner, especially, you should not have to suffer through a relationship that you're not 100% happy with. Like this is
Right.
your business. If you feel like you guys just aren't getting along, like you can't trust this person, or like there's just something you're like, something's
Yeah.
off. Like, it's always gonna be off, I
Oh,
think.
me, I'm just like, what can we do to work on this?
Yeah, like, we need
Like,
to
where's our kumbaya moment? Like, how do we, but I also feel like, yes, that happens, and sometimes it just
yeah,
doesn't work out and
yeah.
you part ways or whatever, but I do think it's worth that candid conversation, which sucks to have,
Mhm.
but we've had them.
Yep,
You and I have had them,
yeah.
and it's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
they suck. They really I think that, like, I think that a lot of times you and I have had these conversations and they're hard. I mean, we've been working together for 8 years, like,
I
we're gonna
know.
have some challenges, and the thing is, you should have some challenges with the people that you work with, 'cause especially in a creative industry, like, you'll butt heads,
Yeah,
it'll happen.
whether it's
But
over aesthetics or over operations or whatever it is.
right, but if you've gotten to a
Worldview.
point where you're just like, "Okay, I can't fix this,"
Yeah.
then,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
can make that
Yes.
choice.
Usually, at that point, in my experience, it's been mutual. Like, once I
Yeah,
get to that point with someone I'm working with, they know it. It is not a surprise.
everybody's done, yeah.
We're done. We're gonna be more successful apart than we are together, and that's okay. And I'm fine with it. Like, there is no hard feelings about that.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
mean,
people
I
just
don't know.
outgrow
They may
things.
have hard feelings, but I feel fine. Like I said, I have a short memory and I do not hold grudges, so if you feel like we have beef, we probably don't. Where did we start this
So,
conversation?
we started this conversation on if you're having trouble with your employee, should you be
Yes.
asking yourself, "Okay, is it
Is it
me?"
me?
And hopefully we've answered enough of that. I do think that the answer is everything. Yes, it's probably you, but
Yes.
it could also be your employee. So there were some questions there. We talked about those red flags as well, and it could be the both of you, and you just don't get along. And then in that case,
That's
you
okay.
either see like, okay, maybe we can work on this, but you can. I mean, like a lot of times you and I butt heads only because like I feel passionately about it, and we can fix it.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm a withdrawer, so it's like when I feel
I'm
like
an avoider.
I'm gone, you won't find me. I don't want it.
Yeah, no, that's not true. I'm an avoider, but if you're withdrawing, I'm gonna track your ass down because 'cause I'm
I
like, "I need
know.
resolution. I need to know what's going on. I need all of this to be, like, laid out on the table. I cannot handle it." Um, I think yeah, is it me? Is it the employee? Who is it? I don't know. It's dependent on the situation, but I think, um most time just, like, having a candid conversation, getting clarity around expectations, following up and inspecting those expectations, make sure you're answering questions, you're clarifying, like, that's all you can do,
Yeah, that's what you
right?
can control. And if you're doing your
That's
due
it.
diligence and you feel good about that and like you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, then it's them. And then, you deal with
Then
that.
you're free and clear. You're free and clear, my friend. Your conscience is clear. All right. Well, I need to go do some introspection now. So
Oh.
thanks. I'm just kidding. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep, we'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to check out our next podcast, coming live next week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. In the meantime, you can find us and more wonderful stories like these on designdash.com. And make sure to follow us at Design Dasher on Instagram and TikTok. Till next time.